Hey everybody, welcome back to another Digital Making at Home video. I'm here with my partner in crime, Zach.
Sup?
And this week the theme is Make It Move. So Zach and I are going to be here to code this little simple game in Scratch for you. It's called Catch the Dots. Now it's not a complicated game, but it is a little bit tricky because we were trying to code it the other day, weren't we? And we got a bit frustrated with it. Just a bit.
Where was you that got frustrated?
It was me that got frustrated, that is true. I did get frustrated with it. But that happens sometimes. We fixed it now, we worked it out, so now we're here to show everybody else how to do it, right? Cool. So you can get the instructions for this project at rpf.io/dm-catch. And you'll see that the instructions there, you can follow all those along with us and we'll make that nice project there for you. And you can get the starter one. So it's not much different to the starter one that you get in the instructions, but I've already added the red dot sprite for you. So that way you don't have to draw it. We've made sure that the costume is all centered, which was one of the issues we were having last time, wasn't it? Things were going a bit askew because we didn't have the costume centered perfectly and we couldn't work it out. But we worked it out now. So we've got the video here for you. So what we're going to do is I'm going to switch across to our screen now so that Zach could drive. And we're going to go across to our Scratch. So what we're going to do, Zach, is you're going to go to rpf.io/dm-dots. So if you hit enter, that's where we can get the starter project. And you'll see it comes up here for us in our Scratch. And if you're logged into your account, then all you have to do is click the green remix button and you can remix your work. So it will take that project and we'll open it up for you in a nice new Scratch project there for you, all remixed. You ready, Zach?
Yep.
Sweet, man, you drive. We'll go across to the instructions and we'll get started. So we've seen our controller sprite, haven't we? Go across to the game just to show everybody that it's there. So that's what it starts with. You'll see it starts with the controller and it also starts with a little red dot down the bottom just so you don't have to draw one for yourself. It's a bit quicker. So we go to catch the dots. What's the first thing they want us to do? We have to make the controller spin, don't we? We want to be able to push the arrow keys on our keyboard and make the controller turn different ways. So go for that, man. You pop that code in. So we always want to start with our when our green flag is clicked. And then we've got a forever. Awesome. And then we've got an if. We've got a couple of if blocks in there. So if, yep. Cool. And then we want a sensing block. We want if left arrows pressed, which you'll see down. It says key space pressed at the moment. We'll change that once we drag it in. Awesome. So we change that to left arrow. And you might as well just duplicate that whole if block and clip it in at the bottom, underneath. That's the way. And change it to right arrow. Great. And so now that we've got those set in there, what we want to do is work out how much it's going to turn each way. So what sort of blocks do we need for things moving on our screen? Motion blocks, and we're going to get a lot of those in this one because this is all about motion. So let's get our turn 15 degrees to the right and put that under our right arrow, and then turn 15 degrees to the left and put that under our left arrow. And then those numbers, whoop, almost. So you have to unclip, there we go. Whoop. That's the way. And that one goes in the top. Perfect. And then change those two 15s to 3. So we want it to turn just a little bit when we push the left and right arrows. And then we'll test our work, push the green flag, and see if your arrow keys make it turn. Fantastic. So we've already got our game controller spinning around. That's pretty cool. Good work, dude. We're on our way. So back to our instructions. And you can give that box a tick now because we've done that one. Head down a bit. We've tested our code, so we can tick that. And then we've got the code to the control sprite to make it turn left if they push the left arrow key. So we've done that already, man. You can tick that one off too. And so that's pretty cool. So it drives. And what we want it to do now is we want it to have our sprites move and like create new dots that will come in at our controller, right? Because the whole game is that we have the controller turn and we want it to catch the colored dots in the right places as they come in. So we're going to go to our new red dot sprite now. And you can select it and it's empty. Fantastic. And so on our red dot sprite, we're going to want to add a few bits of code. So if you go back to the instructions there, that's the way, mate. So how many of those can you remember? Let's see. All right, head back over. What do we got first? Cool. And then we've got a hide block. Fantastic, because we want the original red dot to disappear. We don't want to see the original red dot when our game is playing. We want it to make copies of itself. And all those copies are going to fly in. That way we can delete all those clones and stuff. What was next? Do you remember? Or was all my talking sort of blown it out of your mind?
Forever.
Yeah? Cool. And let's have a look. Let's check to see if that's right. Oh, close. So drag your wait block in. Make it 2 seconds. And then drag your forever in. Cool. And what was inside our forever? Do you remember? So create a clone and then wait a random number of seconds. So down a bit, create clone of myself is down there. That's the one. Plug that into your forever loop. And then a wait block. because we want it to make a clone and then wait a little while before it tries to make another one. And then we need a random block. Where do we get those? Operators, very good. Make those numbers 5 to 10. Cool, so looking at the code we've got there, when we click the green flag, our red dot will disappear from the screen. It will wait 2 seconds, and then forever, as long as our game is going, it's going to clone itself and then wait another random number of seconds, then clone itself, then wait, then clone itself, then wait. It's going to keep making different red dots for us all over the screen, which is cool. Perfect, man, great work. So let's go back to our instructions and check them. Tick that box off because we got that right. Head down to the next bit. So now this part in the instructions is a little different. So you see when the instructions, they say minus 180 to 180. And now what we've got here is we're going to have to change it up a little bit. So pay attention to this because it's not quite the same. The coordinates in Scratch, in the old version of Scratch, are minus 180, 180. But for our purposes, they're actually a little bit different. X is bigger now. It's up to 250. So we're going to go back to our project and we're going to make 2 lists. Do you remember how to make lists? So you click on the variables menu. That's right. And then make a list. So call the first one xpos, so xpos, hit enter, and then make another one and call it ypos. Awesome. So now we're going to make 2 lists, and these are going to contain the x positions for where our dots are going to appear randomly, and the y positions for where our dots are going to appear. So click the little plus in the bottom of xpos, and it's going to ask you to add things to this list. Now we only want to add 2 things. The first one is minus 250. And what do you think the next one is?
Add 250.
Excellent, dude. Well done. So it's just 250. Okay, cool. So don't hit enter because it will make a third one that we don't want. Click on the plus in ypos. And now these ones are going to be minus 180. And what do you think the second one is? You fill it in for us. Awesome. So now we've got these 2 lists that we can choose from. So it will randomly pick a corner when we pick them. It might pick minus 250 and 180, and then it will go to the top left corner, right? Or it might pick minus 250 and minus 180, and then go to the bottom left corner. But we're always going to have it appear from one of the corners and come at us from there. So you can hide both those lists now that we finished them. Just click the little tick next to them in the variables list. And now, whoop, that's the way. Click the 2 ticks, and they'll disappear. Well done, man. That's great. So head back to our catch the dots instructions. And so what we've got now is you can go down. So did we tick that box above? I think we did, didn't we? Yeah, we did. So head down a bit and we can tick that box off now. So we've made the list and we've hidden it. We made 2 lists in our game. And so what we want to do now is we're going to have this new code. So for every time the red dot clones itself, just like the clone troopers in Star Wars, right? They were copies of the same thing, lots and lots of copies. We're going to have it do the same. So when it starts as a clone, we want it to now pick some of those random things from our list. So head back to our Scratch, find our when I start as clone block under control. Scroll down a bit more, man. That's the way. When I start as a clone.
I always forget it.
That's okay. And then we want to go back. Let's check to see what we have next. When I start as a clone, go to X and Y. So that's a motion block.
Oh.
Cool. Go to X and Y. Plug that in under our when I start as clone. And now what I want you to do is go to your variables lists. Go to your lists and find a thing. Go to item something of xpos. You'll see item 1 of xpos. Pop that in the X hole. Good. And then grab one that's item 1 of ypos. So you can drag that across and we'll change the drop down in a second. Item 1 of xpos. Pop it in the Y hole and change the drop down to ypos. Great. So now we want to pick a random number between 1 and 2. So where do you get your randoms from? Where's that?
It's in operators.
In operators. Fantastic. So pop that in there. Yep. And we want it to be 1 to 2, not 1 to 10. And then you can do it to the second one as well. You can just duplicate that one that's already in there. Pop it in the next hole. Oh, kicked out your ypos. That's it. Pop that in. That can go straight in the 1 hole. Cool. So now what's going to happen is it's going to pick an X number and it's going to pick a Y number for us and it's going to go to that position once it makes a clone. Sweet. What's our next bit?
Point towards controller.
Point towards controller, and then we want it to appear. So motion, we have point towards controller. That's the one. Pop it in. Controller, and then show. Very good, man. Under looks, that's great. Okay, so it's going to go to a random point. It's going to point at the center where our little spinny controller is, and then it's going to pop up. It's going to show wherever it is. It's going to appear for us. Go to catch the dots for us again. Then we go to repeat until touching controller. We want it to take 1 step every time. So grab our repeat. So that's not quite the one. We want repeat until, remember? That's it. And then we'll grab our gem-shaped sensing block. And we want it to be touching controller. Well done, man. That's the one. Plug it in. Change that to controller. Get pretty slick at driving Scratch now, aren't you, dude? Getting much better with the practice. How do you get better at anything?
Practice.
Say that a million times a day, don't we? Cool, man. Well done. That's great. So now it's going to point towards the controller. It's going to appear. And then until it's touching your controller, it's just going to keep taking a single step into the middle of the game. And it's always going to keep moving until it's touching, and then it's going to stop. So let's go back to our instructions. We got everything?
Yep.
Give it a tick. Okay, head down a bit, and let's test our code. So go back to our game, and let's test it. Click the green flag, and we should see red dots start to appear. There's one. It's heading towards our controller. And you can turn it with the arrow key, so that's cool. And then it should touch control and stop. Fantastic.
Yep, it works.
It works. Well done, Boons. Spuds. Nice. Okay, let's head back to our instructions, man. Create 2 new variables called lives and score. Do you remember how to create variables in Scratch?
Yeah.
Go for it, dude. Make 2. One called lives, one called score. And one
Wait,
called...
what?
That's okay, we can rename it. If you right click on the little block, you can click rename variable, and then you can change the spelling. Great. Oh, that's it.
Live.
That's okay. And then make a new one called score. Awesome. So we've got lives and we've got score. And so that's going to keep track of those for us during the game. Head back and give it a tick because we did those 2 things. Okay, so add code to your stage. Again, we're adding some universal controllers here. So let's go back to our project. Click on the stage down the bottom right there. So it's not a sprite. This time we're going to add it to our backdrop. So we want events when green flag clicked. And we want it to change our lives to how many lives do you want to start with?
3.
Okay, that's how many it says in the instructions too. So that's cool. So let's go to variables. Grab set lives to how many?
3.
Awesome. And then we want to set score to 0, because when we start a new game, the score should be 0, right? It should always go back to 0, just like when you play football. No one starts with any goals, do they? That wouldn't be cool. So let's go back to catch the dots. Give it a tick. Head down a bit. Okay, so at the end of the script, we want it to keep going until your lives are less than 1. What's less than 1?
0.
Right, so when you have 0 lives, it's going to stop your game completely. So let's go back to our project. We're going to find our wait until block. It's the one. Clip it to the bottom. Now we need a greater than, or a less than, sorry, for this, don't we? So which one's less than? That'll work. So we want, which side is the less than side? That's right. So we want that one to be which part?
1.
Good. You sure?
That should be 1, and then we should put lives in.
So if we have lives on that side, we would have when lives is greater than 1. Right, so that's okay. We can still use that block. We just have to put the things on the opposite side. So put your 1 in the first hole. That's it. And then go to your variables and drag your lives in. Okay. So what we're really saying there is that wait until 1 is more than the lives you have. Or we could turn it the other way and say wait until lives are less than 1. Yeah? Both of those things will work fine. So wait until that, and then we want to stop all. So go to control and grab a stop all, which is down the bottom. And that's going to end our game. Fantastic. So we're going to set our lives to 3, set our score to 0. As soon as 1 is more than our lives, or our lives are less than 1, we're going to kill the game. All right, game over. Awesome, man. Back to our instructions. Give it a tick. Great. So now what we want is we need to add some bits to the when I start as a clone. So what we want our dot to do, at the moment, our dot touches our controller and nothing else happens to it, does it? It stops doing any code. There's no more code. So we're going to have it, once it touches the controller, we want it to take a bunch of steps at once and appear inside that colored ring. So it's going to touch one step, one step, one step. As soon as it touches our controller, it's going to take 5 steps all at once so that it's inside the colored ring. So go down a bit and it will show you the code we need to add. Right, so we need a move block and then an if-else block, which is the capital E-shaped one. So let's go to our project motion. So click on your red dot, make sure we're adding it to your red dot sprite. Great. And then we want this to be at the bottom of our clone script. Yep, so if you grab that bottom script you've got with the when green flag and move it out of the way a little bit. Yeah, there we go, because we're going to add a bunch of code under there. Oop, that should go on the very end. That's it. Make that 5 steps. And then we want an if-else block. So we'll go to our if-else. That's it. Clip it in. So once it touches the controller, we want it to take 5 steps. And then what do we need to check in our controller? We need to check if it's doing what?
If it's
What happens if a red dot touches the blue color?
it's game over.
No good, right? We don't want that to happen. So we need to check to see what color our red dot is touching. What color do we want our red dot to touch?
Red.
Cool. So let's go to sensing, and you'll see one that says if touching color. That's it. Drag it in. Now we need to make that little. That's it. Pop it in. We need that little green blob in there to be the red of our wheel. So click that. Click the little eyedropper. That's it, mate. And choose the color you want it to be, which is red. Fantastic. So if it's touching color, what do you want it to do? If it's touching the right color, it should.
It should make a congratulations sound.
Congratulations sound. So let's go to sounds and add a congratulations sound. What sort of effect do you want, man? So select effects from the list because they're always the best ones for games. What do you want?
Where is the applause sound?
Applause? Well, you can type in search if you want. There it was, clapping.
Yeah.
Yeah, that one? Okay, so we've got our clapping. So go back to your code and pop in the sounds menu, and we want it to start sound clapping. And then what else should it do? So if it's touching the right color, it should go, yeah, woo, and what else should it do? You should change something in your game. What needs to go up?
Change the score.
So let's go to our variables menu and pick change score. So we say change live, but we want it to be change score, which we'll fix in a minute. That's okay. Pop it in under start sound clapping. That's it, and change score by 1. Awesome. Otherwise, what should it do? It should change something else by 1.
Lives.
And should that go up by 1 or down by 1?
Down.
So what do we want it to change it by? Change lives by not 1.
0.
No, we don't want to change it by 0 because then it would be the same. What do we want to change it by? We want it to take 1 away. So change it by -1. So grab change lives by -1 and plug it in under else. And make that -1. That's the way. So now our code says, go to a random place, point towards the controller, show up, keep going until you touch the controller. When you do, take 5 steps so you're inside the controller wheel. If you're touching the red color, play my yay sound. If you're not touching the color,
Do a bad sound.
do a bad sound. Let's add a bad sound.
I know. There's always the one. I always basically do the same one. Yeah, that.
Okay, you like dun dun dun, don't you? That's a pretty good negative sound. I like that one. So go back to your sounds menu, drag it and drop it in. Start sound dun dun dun. Awesome. Okay, so now we've got that. Should we test it?
Oh.
So we start the game. We wait for our clone to appear. Here it comes. We're going to catch it on the red part, so it's going to move until it touches our controller. Then it's going to take 5 steps all at once. Right, so let's see what happens if you fail. It's not great. Should we work out why it's not doing it? Yeah. So let's see. Oh, I know why. Because the old one didn't disappear. So it's definitely touching red because it's touching the other red sprite that's the same color. So what we want to do is go to your controls and say delete this clone. So go to control and choose delete this clone. There we go, put that right on the end. That's it. Fantastic. So should we check and see if we got it right? There we go, we were missing that block, weren't we? So let's give that a tick, and then they just want to tell us to test our code, test your game. So let's test our game and see if it works. There we go, one coming from a different corner, that's a good sign. So this one we can win, and it should disappear. There we go, now get it wrong. Get it wrong this time. Good work, man, that's great. Okay, back to catch dots, give it a tick, and then more dots. So now this bit, we want, how many colours have we got on our controller?
3.
What are they?
Green, no, red, yellow, and blue.
Red, yellow, blue. So let's go back to our code. Now I want you to clone or copy your red sprite. So duplicate your red sprite and duplicate that one again. Okay, now you need to change them to be yellow and blue. So whatever order you want, go to the costumes tab And then you grab that's it, fill.
Wait a minute.
That's right, now you got it right. Go to fill. What colour do you want it to fill up with? This one going to be the blue one or the yellow one? Ah, so interesting.
Oh, it doesn't work.
That's right, it doesn't work. We need to choose the colour, that's it. So that's sort of a greeny colour really, more than a yellow. That's it, slide it down a bit until we get a nice yellow. That's cool, yeah, you can use that yellow if you'd like. And then what colour? Oh,
No.
Didn't have it selected, unlucky. Let's choose our colour again. No, go back to what you had. Select the dot now in your costumes in here, in the middle. That's it, choose it. Cool, and now go and change those things. So choose yellow, a nice goldy yellow colour. That's it, perfect. Already done, and now you need to change the outline to be yellow as well. Choose that and make it the same yellow colour. So now you can use the eyedropper if you want. Yeah? Cool, now do the same thing for the blue one. Make the last sprite a blue one.
Oh, okay, just went down there.
So select it first, remember, select the dot, that's it. Now change the fill and change the outline. Great, and then you can change the outline as well, just select the outline menu. And you can use the eyedropper to make sure it's the same blue. Bosh. Cool, now go to the code. We need to change one more thing in here. At the moment this one's touching a red colour when it finishes. What colour do we need it to be touching in our code?
Blue.
Blue, so let's go for it. So grab the little dot in touching colour, just click on the red dot inside your code. That's it, grab the eyedropper and choose the blue in your screen. Dunzo. Now the one in the middle. Change the yellow one. So go across here to your sprites. Grab your yellow sprite, change that red dot in your code. Choose the eyedropper and select the yellow in your picture. Great, so now they're all good. So we've got one that we're searching for red, one that's searching for yellow, and one that's searching for blue. So when we restart our game,
yeah.
nice, 3 at once.
Oh,
Well, now they're all coming one after the other. Alright, now let's see if we can get it to lose. I want to see what happens when we finish our game. Whoa, you lost one.
oh, this is hard.
Ah, unlucky dude. That was great though, well done. So the game works, that's cool. Awesome, so we can give that one a tick. We've done that. We changed our costume. We changed the code so that they select all the right things. And we see that the code sometimes gets put on top of each other. So what we want to do is we're going to have the yellow dot appear later and the blue dot appear even later again. Because that happened to us at the beginning, didn't it? They all came out at the same time and you were kind of like, whoa, hang on a second. So we're going to change that weight, right? So we go across to our code. At the very top of your yellow sprite, scroll up to the top of your code. So over here, actually, sorry, we've got it here, don't we? Over here now, under your green flag. So change that wait 2 seconds to a wait 4 seconds. And then for the blue one, you can change it to a wait 6 seconds. Awesome. So now when we start our game, they won't all start all at the same time on you again like they did last time, which was a bit of a freak out, right? So that means that the red one will start, then the yellow one will start, then the blue one will start. So that's cool. So let's go back to our instructions. Clean up your block, because I like it. Click that tick. Cool. And so we can increase the difficulty. Do you want to make the game get harder as we play along?
Yeah.
Yeah, cool. All right, so click increase the difficulty. So we're going to make a new variable, and we're going to call this one delay. So go back to your code on your stage. So click on your backdrop. It doesn't really matter if you do that first or not. Make a new variable and call this one delay. So make a variable delay. Oh, AY.
Oh.
Cool, hit enter or OK. So now we've got a new variable. Fantastic. Let's go back. We've done that. Click the tick. Back to our instructions to click the tick. Great. Roll down a little bit. So we need to add our set delay to a certain number. Right, we're going to make this new code. So when green flag clicked, set delay to 8. Go for it. Great. Now let's check to make sure. Well done.
I forgot what's inside.
Until delay equals
Wait.
2. And then we wait 10 seconds and change it. Okay, so an equals, the gem-shaped one, that's it. And we want our variables back, wait until delay equals 2. Yep, pop it in the first hole and make that 50 a 2. Cool, do you remember what goes inside?
Await 2
a
seconds.
wait, and then a change your variable. So change delay by minus 0.5. Cool. So let's check to make sure we got it right.
Yep.
Awesome. Click the tick. Let's head down a little bit further. Cool. So now the code block that makes the game wait a random number of seconds before they show up, we want it to wait delay number of seconds. Okay, so let's go back to it. Go back to your spots. Anyone, you can start at anyone. Cool. See down here where it says in your green flag, pick random, pull that out. Get rid of the random, put it in the bin, and drag delay into that hole. Great. Do the same thing for the yellow and the blue and the red ones now. Get rid of the rando, pop in the delay. And then for the blue one, down the bottom, get rid of the random, pop in delay. Cool. So now what we've got is we've got that number delay starts at 8 and it's always going to slowly get lower all the time. Right? Once it gets down to 2, it won't get any lower. It will stop at 2, right? But then delay will be 2 instead of waiting like 5 to 10. It'll be waiting 2 seconds before it starts dumping dots. So what's going to happen is that number it waits is always going to be getting less and less and less as your game goes on. So as you get better, the game gets harder. You ever played Space Invaders? Where the aliens come down, you have a little cannon that shoot them all. Yeah, you love Space Invaders, right?
Yeah.
Do you know when that first came out, the computers were so wimpy trying to run it that the reason the game actually got harder while it was playing because it had to make less pictures on the screen? So as you killed aliens, it got faster and faster because there were less aliens it had to worry about. And everyone thought it was a difficulty curve, but it was actually the software being able to be run on the hardware easier because there were less aliens it had to think about. It's crazy, right? So let's go back to Catch the Dots. Give it a tick. Test your game.
Oh.
Alright, so for 10 seconds it's going to be fine and then delay will go down. We should watch delay change. There it goes, it's gone down.
Oh, done. I got the tactic.
Uh-oh.
Wait, what?
The delay's gone down again, look. Things are starting to come faster. Awesome, man. Alright, let's stop it there for a minute. We've seen it's working. We know it's getting faster. So let's head back to our Catch the Dots instructions. Give it a tick. Yeah, and I think that's where we'll stop for today. I'll do some bonus features videos for everybody else. But that was cool, right? We got the delay working. We got past our frustrations previously through persistence and carrying on. So that was really good, dude. Is there anything you wanted to add about that game? Anything you thought was cool? Or have you got any ideas that you'd like me to add in a bonus features video?
No.
No? Should I just jazz it up a bit and add some new sounds and some different backdrops and stuff like that?
Yeah.
Cool. All right, I'll do those in my bonus features videos. So thanks for watching in again, everybody. We hope you like playing Catch the Dots with us. And like I say, I'll do some bonus features videos for you guys to show you a couple of extra bits you can add to the game. And don't forget to tune in to Digital Making at Home at rpf.io/home, where you can see me and Zach and me and Xavier do different projects all the time. We have got our friends Christina and Mark on there doing projects every week, and we love it when you share your stuff with us. So you can also give us your work, hand it in at rpf.io/home, and we can share it with the community and do those sorts of cool things. We'll catch you next time, everybody. It's all from me and Zachy, so we'll see you later. Bye, gang.